Ashwat, only you? Nobody else?
Yeah, Professor, I think it's just me so far.
One-on-one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can just talk. If you have any questions, you can ask until then. And it's on recording anyway, so people can just feel free to watch them.
Yeah. I mean, at least for me, for the quest that I was doing, that was due last Sunday, I unlocked like the trophies, but I didn't get the code for the next quest.
I'm pretty sure you got it. You're probably not looking
Okay.
in the right place. If you got all the trophies, it'll be there somewhere.
It's
So which one
5
is it? By the
trophies,
way,
right?
by the way, which one is it?
Like which quest it was?
Yeah.
It was the 3 Zanny zebras.
Give me 1 sec. I want to see, because at some point the password will become less obvious. It'll be hidden there, but it'll be
Okay.
different. It'll be different from your trophy messages.
Okay. I guess I have to look again then.
Yeah, yeah. I think you'll find it okay.
Mhm.
I'm actually curious. I thought I didn't start doing that until cs2b. But okay, yeah, well, that's cool. You should be able to find it. Don't worry. So you're on quest number 4 now. Zebra.
Yeah, that's the one that I finished. Yeah.
Oh, you finished. All right. So,
Yeah.
And you're looking for the 5th one.
Code for the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think after the 5th one, after you finish the 5th quest, it'll be a whole lot easier in terms of all the process and submission, things like that. Also testing, and you'll get more more straightforward error messages from the questing system, right?
Okay.
It's not like your output is going to be compared with my output, because a C in, C out, input output, that's only the first 5 quests. After that, there's no testing of that. Whether your functions work or not is what we test for the remaining, until cs2c.
Okay.
So from now on, after you finish this one, after you finish the snake quest, everything else you don't have to write a main, or you don't have to write any output statement at all. Everything you do is just in functions, and then it'll be tested.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It'll be easier that way, but the quests themselves will start getting harder to make up for that. So you won't see any difference in your effort.
Okay.
Otherwise, how are you finding it? How are you? I don't know. I'm not on these other forums with your classmates and things. So what is general vibe? Are people generally enjoying the class? Are they learning things, picking it up, or are they scared off, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, no, yeah, I think they are definitely learning. I mean, obviously, like at least the last few days, there hasn't been as much discussion on the Reddit, but I mean, like just talking to some like the other classmates, they're it's definitely going through the quest. You kind of figure it out on as you go through, So that's how I feel about it. I think I've learned a good amount since the course started, which is good.
Great. That's good. That's good to hear. Hey, so you're in Santa Barbara now, right? This is your dorm room?
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is what they look like. Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. My daughter must be in one of those. I guess
Really? She goes there too?
Yeah. Somewhere
Okay.
in one of I don't know which one she is in, but she's in this one. Hey Kai, welcome to class.
Hello.
I saw that you and Kylie had a discussion on Reddit. But you both figured out. Kylie said she figured it out, but you are good now.
Yeah, I fixed that problem specifically.
Awesome. And that was what was it was, wasn't it? The string there, it would go away. Nice. Awesome. Zane. Well, yesterday I was just walking around, and for the first time I got hit bad by the allergies, and my eyes started watering like crazy, and then my nose started watering, and I was sneezing away, and I was like totally surprised. First time but I've known other people have that, and I've seen them and say, wow, I'm so lucky I don't have to suffer like them. And yesterday I actually did suffer like them. So it was a very interesting experience. We can, by the way, we can start anytime you guys are ready, okay? If you have any questions related, we can address questions first. Otherwise, I can start talking about classes, because this is week 7. And in week 7, we're well into object world. So we'll be talking about objects and how to create objects of your own. In fact, what we'll do today is get you guys to create an object in code. Okay, so we'll do a class, and I'm not going to say, oh, this is what a class is and this is how you make it. You can read that for ages and you won't know how to make a class. Okay, so let's today make a class together, and then it'll also be a fun and easy class. Okay, just like our class. Okay, it'll be a fun and easy class, and I thought more about what we did last quarter with Turkey. And I should tell him, because next week, in my 2B meeting, I can tell him, hey, Turkey, you know what, the stuff that we did last quarter, we managed to complete it this quarter. You should go and check out our videos. Hey, by the way, I just remembered, nobody sent me any packs, okay, zip packs. So effectively at this point, there will be folders in future. So these are the achievements and contributions of my winter 22 students, okay? Winter, maybe spring 23 or something like that. There'll be multiple folders, and then your folder will just be empty. That's okay. So I'm going to put stuff in there that worthwhile stuff that is shared with me by students, especially interesting class projects like this that we work on. And you send me these packs. Nobody sent me any packs, not even one. And even though we were working in class, and some of you I could see actually had some interesting stuff going, right? I think Noah had some interesting stuff going, at least, right? And then where's Sean? Sean's not even in class? Okay, well, maybe he's got some stuff going on, but he's on top of things. I can see, right? In fact, I know. I told you guys before, no matter where I am, okay, I'm like a couple of minutes away from knowing exactly where each one of you is. So I can just pull up my phone and see, all right, in the last 5 minutes, this is exactly what these people have done, as far as I know. But I don't know if you've done stuff behind closed doors, but I try to keep everything here outside of closed doors, right? So that's pretty much my policy, unless you have something really, really confidential. And yeah, that's fine. It's not going to benefit other students. I'm perfectly happy talking to you about it behind closed doors. But if you have anything at all that's technical, anything that is even slightly bound to be useful to other people, you've got to tease it out, and it has to be in the public, right? And I'm happy to have any number of discussions like that. I'm going to put that in the syllabus, okay? Any number. So unlimited, infinite, 24/7 office hours, okay? The best you can get from any university professor anywhere in the world. Okay, so I'm giving that to you. So as long as I'm awake and I'm able to respond, I will be able to have an office hour with you, right? And we can have a technical office hour too if you want. If you're happy with having it recorded and published, that's fine. But one-on-one, I'm happy to do that. Okay, so basically that's my policy. I don't know how we got started talking about that. Hey, man, welcome to class. And you guys should feel free to switch on your cameras at some point, okay? Because the Zoom video gets really boring after that. The recorded stuff. Now, I mean, here you can hear us talking and it's interactive, but once it's recorded and uploaded, and I think you have pointed out that he's actually looking for these videos, okay? I thought nobody was looking for these videos. So please do switch your cameras on. Okay. So what was I saying? Yeah, we'll do classes. And then we'll create a real object, and then we'll have an opportunity to contribute, just like last class. Okay, at this time I'm hoping, I don't know, right, why are not people not sharing these packs? Why are people not well, maybe it was midterm and all that. Okay, maybe you have one more week, but I want this winter 22 folder, winter 22 students, whatever it is, we'll come up with a name. Okay, that says 2022 cs2a. And I'll put your stuff in there, okay? Along with documents or web pages I create saying, okay, this is a list of projects done in class and completed in their own time by students of winter 22 cs2a. Okay, and these are documents that describe what they do. Play around with it yourself. Okay, and this will be inspirational for future students. Don't you think so? Okay, all right. So that's great. So
what are we talking about?
Yeah, sorry, man.
Oh yeah, sorry, I just popped in. What's the topic we're covering right now?
Yeah, last week, you remember we were talking about creating these packs and generating random sentences, and Sean was there. He created an entire story and all.
Oh, we're talking about Lucky?
Yeah, Lucky.
Mhm,
Lucky
yeah.
packs. Yeah, Lucky. Thank you for reminding me. Okay.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
sent me
that's
Lucky packs. Nobody sent me Lucky packs.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
were we supposed to be sending you Lucky Packs? The words and the actual
No,
verbs
the
and stuff?
entire thing. Okay, your Lucky program and your data files. One zip file.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
you watched the video. Maybe were you there last class? You were there last class.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, Lucky. And I think in the video I said, send me those zip files. Your zip file with your lucky.cpp and your folder.
Oh, no, I missed that part. So we're supposed to send because I was there showcasing it to you.
No, it's showcasing, and then I said, it's showcasing just to our class. Well, it's
Yeah.
a very limited audience. Let's just put it online so that future classes and anyone in the whole world can take a look at it and play with it, right?
Okay, okay.
So I said I'll host it, perpetually from now on the questing site, under my Foothill directory, /Foothill/ I don't know, cs2a / winner 22 students projects.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I'll put these, zip files there or something like that with descriptions saying, hey, this is Van's project and it's a Lucky sentence generator. Run it to find out what the topic is all about. Right?
Gotcha. Do
Yeah,
you think it might be
so-
good?
Hmm?
Do you think it might be good if you put an announcement on the canvas for that? Because I was there and I kind of did miss that small tidbit.
What do you want? I'm sorry, what is it you want me to put?
Oh, if you
Oh, in
if
the
you want
announcements in
everyone-
Canvas?
Yeah, if you want everyone to drop a zip file on, are you talking about putting
No,
on the Reddit?
you know what? Don't put. We've got to figure out some way of transferring these zip files
Okay.
because Canvas is a pain. You got to send it to me as an attachment to my official email address.
Yeah,
Oh,
Professor,
okay.
that's what I just did. I sent it just through email as a zip file.
When did you send it, Kai? Kai, was it you?
Yeah, just like 30 seconds ago.
Okay, all right. So that's why I didn't see it. All right. And also remind all the other people too, right? Noah and because he just joined, so I don't know if he knows. Okay.
Yeah, I heard it.
So yeah, and send me the files. I know maybe we'll just say it's midterm week, so you guys were busy. I'm pretty sure you had other exams too, not just mine. Yes. Yeah. Hey, Kylie, how come you're at home? I thought you had a class at 10 a.m.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is just better here.
Oh, so you don't have to be on campus? for
I
this
do.
class?
I have to go a little bit early. My Wi-Fi is just not good on campus.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you're gonna leave early today. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, carry on the conversation while I try to sneeze. Okay. Okay. No, it's gone. Whoa, wow. Okay. I was just talking about allergies yesterday, so that's funny. Great. So if you have any questions, we'll handle those questions. Otherwise, we'll start another project today. Okay. Now, not to do with Lucky. And I think this project, we started last quarter. And I think it was not even a project. It was like a half-assed idea. And then we followed it through. And the idea was morphing. But then over the last couple of days, I thought about that. And I think we have a much better chance of turning it into a real project this quarter. Okay. So I think it is the class that we're going to create is called Display with Effect. Okay. And the funny thing is, so a little bit of history about this. When I was a little kid like you guys, I don't think we had fancy graphics terminals. They were all like ASCII terminals, like the Matrix. But I wasn't satisfied with ordinary printouts. So all kids like me at that time are trying to figure out different ways in which we can control the cursor, right? Just an ASCII cursor, a blinking cursor, can go various spaces on screen, paint colors, and so on and so forth, just with that. But those required special unprintable characters to be sent to the screen, so that the screen can look at the characters and say, well, I can't, that's not really an A. I can't send it to a particular location on the screen, but it's a control character. That means it's a meta message saying, don't print where you are, move somewhere else. That kind of thing, okay? And it's a whole language like that. There's a whole language of special codes that you have to learn to master the art of making your cursor jump around. How about that, okay? This is really funny, isn't it? And I think an entire library in Unix and Linux came about because of that. And this library was called Curses, C-U-R-S-E-S. Okay, I don't know if people still use it, but it's really funny because Curses. Only now that I think about it, there's probably a name for it. It's Curses is a library that lets you control your cursor. right? You can go anywhere on screen, not just on the current line, right? At the same time, it is really a bunch of curses, really, because it is complaining that, what a pain, what a real pain that I have to do this just to say, here's what I want to go, right? I want to go to 22,7, right? And then I have to find this escape sequences, and it's a really pain. So it's kind of people cursing at the system, and also you get this really bad effect. So anyway, so I thought it was a nice name to have chosen for curses. Ages since I've used it, really. It just occurred to me. However, we're not going to do curses, but we'll do the, consider curses the genie of the big line, okay? Can do a lot of stuff, meaning two-dimensional curses. Your cursor can move up and down, right? So this way and that way. We're not talking about VR cursor, where you can go up like that and also this way, right? 3 dimensions, right? So we're talking about two-dimensional cursor. That's the real cursors, okay? Two-dimensional. Now we are not going to do that. I thought, why don't we do one-dimensional cursors? Okay, single dimension, meaning we actually have the ability using just no special characters to print anywhere on the screen. Yes, because and retrace the line, because if you go back to ASCII and our data representation, right, please stay in step with me, and please do switch on your cameras, guys, because when we're talking about interesting stuff, it's nice to have a lot of color on the screen so that someone could actually click, hey, I want to scrub the video and get to this place. Yeah, and that'll be nice. Okay, so what was I saying? Gee, I was saying, yeah, okay, so yeah, what we want to do is yeah, so I can print anywhere. So if you go back all the way to data representation, what causes my cursor to go to the next line and then all the way back, so that when I start typing, remember, anywhere you type, so every time you hit return, it goes to the next line and to the beginning of the next line. Yes, two things happen at the same time. Yes, not just one thing.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So going to the next line is called the new line character and has the ASCII value 10. I think it's 10, right? Or maybe hex 10. That's right. And then so new line is basically just go to the new line. That's all. You just go one step down. All right. So if it's just send 10, that's all it should do. But that's not what we want. We not only want it to go to the new line, but we want the carriage, like a typewriter. That's the typewriter carriage, return home, okay? So the CR, carriage return, okay? So that sense doesn't go to the new line, but wherever you are, go back home. Does that make sense? So that's why enter is composed of 2 keys, which, Microsoft said it should really be 2 different keys, right? There's a carriage return and a line feed, yes? Well, I think that's how Unix did it, right? 2 different things. There's a carriage return and they did 2 different things. Now, if your enter key or your console or something says, well, you know what, in this way of, in this user interface, it makes sense to combine the 2. Yeah, fine. In this user interface, doesn't make sense to combine the 2. That's fine, right? So, but technically, they're 2 different things. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So that's why they're 2 different ASCII characters. Okay, so so now we know that that's really cool, which means that I'm going to take the screen. I'm going to take, if you're printing on an ASCII terminal, okay, think about the old terminal side. Or what we'll get as soon as we start coding, we'll get a terminal where we can type stuff. Yes or no? You got to stay in step with me. All right, tell me. In your terminal, you're going to be able to type stuff. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how many characters do you think you can type like that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all right, 11, 12, 13, 14, 80 characters. Okay. I think, most terminals these days, you can go all the way up to 110 characters. Yes. Before it goes to the end of the window.
I have no idea.
Actually, we shouldn't be talking about this now. Why don't we start doing it, right? And then in the process of doing it, we can talk. Maybe new ideas will also emerge. How about that?
Yeah, I like
Great.
that.
Okay, Dan has a thumbs up. All right. How about someone who doesn't have their screen on? Okay, doesn't have their camera on. Take the screen. Okay, that way we won't be sacrificing a nice icon. Okay, we'll just be sacrificing one of those black squares for a screen. I think so. Right? So how about one of you, right? Take the screen and start an editor. And then what did we use last class? We continue with cpp.sh. Is that what we did? No. Coding rooms. Coding rooms is what we use, right?
Yeah, that's what we use.
I can share the screen. You just got to give me a second. I got to create a new
Okay,
workspace.
no worries.
For sure.
Yeah, and make sure it's private and all, Noah.
Yeah, I got you. What did you say I should title this?
Oh, I'm sorry, what was it?
What did you say I should title this?
Yeah, yeah, call it display with effect. I think that's what we called it last quarter. Display with effect, and you can use camel case or whatever it is you want, right? Because that's what we're going to build. And maybe why don't we call it something cool? Okay, why don't we call it curses underscore 1D, right? It's one-dimensional curses. Okay, so it can only go one. We're going to replicate the Unix curses library. Okay, Unix curses library as an object. I don't know if this is going to work, but you know what, giving it a shot. Okay, as an object, but it's one-dimensional. It's not two-dimensional. Okay, the original curses is two-dimensional. Your cursor can go anywhere. Right here, we'll just do 1D curses. Okay, so we'll create, leave your main alone. So let's go and create a brand new CPP file. And let's call this a curses underscore 1D, right? Curses, and call it capital C. And all of this will make sense, okay? Capital C, right? 1D. Right? So yeah, .cpp. And make it capital C. And then let's edit the file. Put in a comment at the top to describe what we're going to do, right? So let's start editing that file. Okay, all right. So let's start this file. In fact, we'll do one more thing, Manua, if you don't mind. Change the .cpp to .h, okay? And all of this will make sense. If not today, it'll make sense just in a couple of days, okay? Because you're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing quest number 6, and you're going to be doing this, okay? So so we won't spend a lot of time about that. Okay, all right. Now start a comment there. Let's make sure before we start, everybody is with us. Okay, I don't want to just the two of us keep marching on. Now let me get more people on screen. I gotta change classes. Okay, one sec. Oops. Yeah. Okay. So that's. I think I can get more. Yeah, I can get more. Great. Okay. All right. So is everybody okay with this so far? I want to make sure before we move forward that everybody is okay with what we've done so far. Are you all following along? Okay. Silence means no.
Yes.
Sorry, I was just yawning. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't looking, obviously. I was just cleaning my glasses. Okay, great. So in the comment, we'll basically say what we're going to do in this file. So we'll say in the comment, in this file, we will define a class. In this file, we will define a class. And if you want, you can put a comment there saying code for today's class or something like that, code for today's date. All right, so yeah, in this file, we'll define a class called say curses underscore 1D dot curses underscore 1D. That's it, right? And on the next line, we'll say, this class will try to replicate the functionality of the Unix curses library in one dimension only. Yeah, next line. Next break after Unix. It's otherwise it'll. I think that's about 80 columns. What do we have a column count anywhere? I don't know. I think it's about 80 columns.
Coding rooms, I think.
It feels like 80 columns there.
Okay.
All right, yeah, go ahead. Oh, Unix curses library, but yeah, Unix library curses in a single dimension, in 1D or whatever it is. Okay, and on the next line we can say on the next line we can say the basic idea here. The basic idea here is that we will use the /r character, okay, which is carriage return, to return to the.
Sorry, wait, slow down. What was that word that you
I'm
said?
sorry. It's actually /r, /r. Yeah, the character. And on the next line, to return to return to the first column of the same line without going to the next line. This will allow us to overwrite the entire line many times and
Can you repeat that? This
make
will
an
allow us to
illusion.
what?
Without going to the next line, and then the new sentence there. New sentence. This, yeah. Start this with a new sentence. This will allow us to provide an illusion. Provide an illusion of characters moving around on the same line. Can you picture that in your head? Yeah, because think about it. We're print of all spaces and we print a star there. Okay, all spaces and a star, and then later on it's like claymation movies. Okay, you wait for, let's say, 1 second. It's, well, not 1 second, it's going to be 1 millisecond, but let's say 1 second, and then instead of going to the next line, you're going to go back to the same line at the beginning of the same line, and you're going to overwrite the entire line, right? Except the star is in a different place now, and you keep doing that. It'll look like that flipbook effect, yes or no? Your star keeping your star or whatever it is that you print is going to keep moving around on screen, yes or no? Okay, so that's an effect we're going to try and replicate. Is that fun enough or not? I don't know. All right, once we do that, what we'll do is then we'll get a lot of ideas or for our own custom demonstrations where, you know, for example, Kaylee could say what is curses 1d.h yeah, we're going to have multiple versions of yeah, you could say, Kaylee could say, I'm going to create a method, and I'll show you how to do all these, okay? Which will take a given string and print it out on the console, matrix style, right? All random characters. This is what we did last quarter, right? All random characters, and the characters are rolling. And then as time passes, they all kind of settle into the actual message. Okay, so you start off with, you know, grains of sand kind of settling into the message. So we can get that effect. So maybe Kylie would do that. So some of us, maybe Zane would say, you know, my effect is going to be, give me a sentence. I'll take the sentence and break it into 2 parts. Okay, we'll have the left edge of the left half of the sentence start here and the right half start here. There's a big gap between, and I'm going to move the 2 together in the middle. Or, you know, bring this, or, you know, the PowerPoint effects, essentially. You know, you get all these effects on PowerPoint when you create these slides. Many of these you can just do like this, and I'll show you how to do these things. It's really cool. So, and I think we'll get all this done before Thursday. And each one of you will be able to create one of these effects, so, right? So we can have, you know, in your Win22 folder, achievements of this quarter students, you can have another project there saying, you know, display with effect, or, you know, curses 1-dimensional, whatever it is we want to call it, right? And no, at some point later, when you share the code, maybe you can decide to rename things, right? Maybe curses is too technical name for many cs2a students. You can call it display with effect if you want. I think that is a name we used last quarter. Curses just occurred to me, you know, and we shouldn't do that on a whim, but up to you, right? At some point. But if you can leave it there if you want, because, you know, it's just one Google search away. You know, people can just go and say, hey, what is this thing called curses? Right? And then people will find out. All right, so does this all make sense? This is our overarching plan. Okay, so this is the basic idea. We have control over the position of a character on a line over time, meaning that, you know, I can print something to the screen, and then I print something else to the screen. It's going to overwrite the same thing. So what's gone before is gone. Well, you know, what was printed before is gone, right? It hasn't moved up, it's gone. Maybe we should do that. Okay, maybe we should do that, and you'll get a better feel. Let's do that without doing, let's go to our main for now, and we're going to do this just to see what the effect is going to look like. Okay, so go to main, and in main, let's create a very simple loop. So say for int I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. You know, say this. Let's no. All right, 10 is fine. 10 is fine. Okay, we'll have to insert. I was thinking, I don't want to bore you with my reason now. All right, so in here we want to do a cout of anything you want. Oh, but you want to print a certain number of spaces. Okay, all right. So what you want to do is put another loop in there for j equals 0. For j equals 0, j equals 0, and then yeah, j less than I, j less than I. And here's an interesting thing. Maybe you'll run into lots of situations like this. This is a very interesting loop. Okay, you'll use this a lot of times, and then j plus plus. All right, it's a very interesting loop, right? Because if you look at the conditions, they're not intuitive. The second loop, it starts at 0, but only goes to I. It doesn't go to n or some number like that, or 10 or something like that, right? So these are very interesting structures to remember, because it does something very unique that you should find out and by experimenting. I'm not going to say that now, but all right. So we'll continue with our experiment here. Say C out. One empty character. String. Not empty. One space. Yeah, let's do a string. Okay, not a character. Okay, that's great.
I can do character.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think it's the same. This is a very small overhead. Okay. Enter. Now, after that, after you've printed those, you want to print the star. So you just no, just there. That right there. No. Put
Yeah, it's just good
the way
for
you had it before was
readability.
perfect. No, you have an extra space there. You have an extra line.
I'm a fan of white space for readability, so I'd prefer to have the space.
Oh, but you don't have a space. You don't have a space after line 5, though.
Well, with nested for loops, I figured it's just a bunch of for loops, but with the
okay, all right. Let's not waste time on this. Okay, it's your style. Let's go around.
Sounds good.
This. Okay, all right. So is everybody okay with this? We just got to make sure it's all consistent and grouped together. Okay, all right. So what we want to do is now we want a statement that belongs to the outer for loop, but not the inner for loop. How do we do this? And how are you going to do this? I see you're using braces. Okay. And do you? I would prefer if you don't have 2 blank lines after the C out, after line. Yeah. Okay, that looks better. All right. So
wait, are you going to have me print something more in this nested?
No, that's all. That's all. That's all. I thought you wanted to have space. Yeah, all right. So that's why I was puzzled, Noah, because I thought, wow, that's the first time I've seen a programmer do that. All right, good. So yeah, and now this belongs to the outer for loop, right? So here you want to say C out, and then put a star or something, okay? All right. Now star. Oh, and then a /r, meaning it prints a star and returns to the beginning of the line. /r. So it needs to be a string. Sorry, this needs to be a string. It needs to be a string quote star /r. Here, rhyming. Yeah. All right. Now one more thing we need to do here, because today's machines are so fast. Believe me or not, this did not require to be done a very, very long time ago, right? When I started programming, we didn't have to ingest. So put on the next line, say, on the next line, we're going to put a comment saying, we need a very small delay. Put a comment there saying, we now need a very small delay, which we're going to hack by an empty for loop or something, okay? Because for now, right? Just to make a point. So students should not be misled into thinking this is the way to do it. This is the wrong way to do it, okay? Don't use empty for loops to create gaps. Put here, and then on the next line, you can also put a comment saying, caution students, caution guys, never use an empty for loop like this to create delays in your program. Because it's unpredictable, right? You don't know which, is it running on a phone or an ancient device? You don't know that. Yeah. All right. So you're going to say for K. Yeah. No, you can't use. Oh yeah. I. No, you can't use I, because I is I in scope. J is not in scope. You can use J. Yeah. Use K just so students don't get confused. Just say in K. Yeah. K equals 0. I think let's say K equals 1000, and we'll print the /r character repeatedly, right? Just send C out because see out is a slow, interacting with the students, interacting with humans is inherently a slow a process. Just by inserting an empty carriage return to the screen, you're buying a lot of CPU time. And it's also idle time, right? Because you're not wasting a lot of CPU cycles, because whenever you have to interact with humans, the CPU actually says, I got time to breathe. You know, if you think about it from the CPU's point of view, it says, oh, I got to do all this stuff. I got to do all this. And then it says, oh, finally, I can talk to humans. Okay. Because when it can talk to humans, it says, now I can do things at human speed, which means I can, you know, my CPU speed can just relax. So whenever you have COUts or CMs in your program, that is a great luxury to have. And that's why, you know, many parts of your program, they don't have the luxury of doing COUts and CMs. You know, like, you know, if you go to Toyota or any of the dealerships, you can talk to the receptionist, right? You can't talk to the mechanic. And like that, you interact with many classes that you build. And many of the interior methods, if you use some, you know, numerical library in Python or something like that, right? They won't directly talk to the screen at all. They'll do some heavy duty number crunching, right? Which involves an enormous number of sophisticated calculations, and they'll return one floating point number, maybe, I don't know, right? And so, all right, so I should make sure you guys are not sleepy, okay? Kaylee's already yawning. All right, okay, no worries. So is everybody okay with this? All right, so I think if you run this now, if you compile and run it, let's see what the effect is. Oh, before you run it, right, let's take a stab, okay? Let's take a stab at, you know, people guessing what it's going to look like. Is that a fun exercise, you think? Okay, now, first of all, let's take a stab at, before you compile it, who wants to bet or not bet, saying it will compile without problems? Okay, how about that, okay? How about we take a poll in class and say who wins, okay? So everybody will say, when you compile this, nobody's hit run or nobody's compiled it yet. We're going to run it. The entire program is right there. Okay. And hands up if you think that when you hit the run button, not even the run button. Okay. When you compile it. Hands up. If you don't say, you know, if you think if it's got a problem, don't say what the problem is. Okay. Just say, if you compile it now, it will compile, right? Or in fact, if you say it will not compile, right? If you run it now, that you got a chance. If you try and compile it now, you will have an error. Who can play compiler? How about everybody plays compiler, okay, before we actually run the compiler, and someone should say it won't run. It won't compile if you compile it now. Who can take? I can go. I can tell you one. Okay. Well, I mean, I can tell you whether it's going to compile or not. I'm happy to do that, but I don't want to, right? Because I think it's a fun exercise. And especially this quarter, at this time of the quarter, I think it's a fun exercise that everybody should try and do. Play compiler and say, you're going to try and see if this code is going to pass, okay, without actually compiling it.
I have a
Is that fun or
question.
not?
Looks like it's gonna pass, I think.
Okay, all right. So we know, you know what Van says.
Wait, Professor,
Yes,
I have a
Kaylee.
question for line 6. It says J is less than I, but like on the first run, wouldn't I be 0?
Yeah, good question. What's going to happen, right? But good question, Kaylee. All right, and that's something you should think about. That's the second level. Okay, the first level is it going to compile or not? Syntax errors, right? No, don't go to the logic errors now. Okay, so we'll talk about it once it compiles and runs, and then we'll say, okay, what is it going to output? Okay, then we'll start talking about, hey, you know, Kaylee said that, and so on and so forth. Now, I think it's worthwhile. Okay, that's why I'm spending time on this. Or this is being recorded. It's being recorded. Okay, so this is worthwhile, and I think people should watch this. Okay, all of the students, even the students who are trying to catch up now, this is all going to be useful, really useful, because. And then don't fast forward and scrub the video and say, oh, I'm going to see what's going to happen when you compile it. Okay. Or, you know, these, you know, poor sods are trying it on video. I'm going to just compile it and find out. Then you're losing out on a whole opportunity. Yes or no? Okay. So
Totally.
caution all the other students too, right? Resist the urge to fast forward through the videos and think about all the code fragments in the video and say, right, let's go at the speed that those guys are going and try and stop this train in our minds. And say, all right, does it have enough fuel to go to the next station? Can you do that check? All right. So do that and then do it, right? Then go to the next station. Then and then you can actually go all the way. You won't get stuck in the wildies with no fuel. Yes. Okay. So that's what we want to do. So we got at least one person, you know, who was willing to put himself out there and say it's not going to compile. Oh no, it's a Van said it's going to compile. Okay.
I like to refine that. I think it's gonna compile, but then as Kaylee pointed out, I think it's.
No, no,
then
no,
gonna
no. Don't say no. Yes or no. No, no. Only no.
Okay.
Only yes or no.
Okay.
Are you guys
Yes.
chatting? All right, Kaylee, are you chatting?
No.
Oh, all right. Okay. Don't.
Kaylee's innocent,
So
trust.
why did Van say as Kaylee pointed out? All right. So anyway, don't give out the answers. Only yes or no. Okay. Then the fun will be gone. Okay. We'll come to the answers why and so on later. Okay. So we want to take this, even though it takes a lot of time. I want to see if we can all enjoy this fun so that we can make it replicable and repeatable. Everything we do, we can stop one step before the compiler or running it, and we can take a vote. Okay. And if everybody finds it fun, we can try and do that every single opportunity we get. Okay. And then maybe the first couple of times it'll take 5 minutes to get into the hang of doing that, taking a vote, and you can just feel free to say yes or no. Who cares? Right? Because at the end you can say, well, I was surprised or I wasn't. And because people always pay for surprises. Yes. Nobody wants to pay for unsurprising endings. Yeah. Because surprise is information. I don't know. We've talked about this before. Information theory, right? Only if it's predictable, there's no information. Okay. All right. So is everybody okay with this so far? So Van says it's not going to compile. Who else says it's not going to compile? Everybody says it's going to compile. Nobody else wants
I
to
think
take a
it's going
chance?
to compile.
Huh? Okay, was that you? You nodded your head. Oh, you young. Hey, where's Yuhao? Did you nod your head? No, I think it was. Yeah, you young. Did you say something? I can't hear you. I think even last class your microphone was playing up. Okay, so you got to make sure.
I think you will come back.
All right. Anyway, I only got 2 votes now.
That was a yes.
Only Van.
Yeah.
I say it'll compile as well.
Okay, Sean. All right. So Van says it's not going to compile. Okay, Kai says it is going to compile. Nobody else?
No. I said yes on compile.
Oh, yes. How many people are saying? How many people tell me are saying it's going to compile?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Good. You Yang, that's fine. You can use that thumbs up. Okay, I can see it, but it's risky because sometimes if you have some students don't show up. Okay, I got to reduce font size issues. Okay. Also, Giovanni, Fernando, Sean, did you make your vote known? I don't know. And June. Okay. All right.
Yes.
June, yes, Jess. Okay. All right. Now, one more time. Think very carefully about this and run it in your head and see, is the compiler going to complain about anything at all? Okay. I think you're focusing on just some parts of it and saying, okay, everything looks good. The compiler won't complain. Maybe a logic error, but the compiler will say, oh, all okay, right? So maybe there's something the compiler would bother the compiler, but it doesn't bother you. That's good to know, yes? Okay,
Yes.
Try and see if there's something in this program that might bother the compiler, but doesn't bother you. So meaning that you want to look for rules and regulations now, right? So if you say that, all right, I'm going to do my job, but I got to do it exactly by the rules or do it by good sense, saying, good faith and do things the right way, right? So that's what I mean, right? So syllabus should not, and when you create the syllabus also, you create the syllabus so that you want to make sure that's there's a fail safe to make sure that, abusers can't get through, but at the same time, you want to keep it fun also so that everybody can do a good job. So I think that's the way you should approach this also. And I think you'll find it a great deal of fun to take chances and keep on correcting yourself. And I think that's the best way to, learn in a ladder. Look at it from a compiler's perspective, because think about it. What are you when you compile it? Is it going to give you a thumbs up? Okay, like you got a thumbs up from everyone. Hey, Ashwath, you can lower your thumb. Oh, Ashwath, you got your hand raised, not your thumbs up. Do you have a question?
No, sorry. I was just saying that it was gonna compile.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I also keep getting confused all the time, even in my official meetings at Foothill, right? And people sometimes ask for votes and votes, and this doesn't usually work in Zoom. You got to do the icon, and then for some reason, many times I confuse the thumbs up and the hand, and so I can understand. All right. Nobody else? Everybody still thinks it's going to compile? All right, so let's do this. All right, go to the console Let's go to the console. Can you edit it? Noah, are you?
Yeah, I got you.
Loading terminal. Okay, good. All right, now what we want to do is do an ls type an ls-l space. Oh, you got a main.cpp. That's good. All right, so what we want to do is we want to see if it compiles or not. Yes. So here's what we're going to try and type. Okay, except I'm going to try and make sure that the compiler does not give us too much information, because the compiler could look at the whole file and say, there's 15 errors in here. These are all the 15 errors, right? Then it'll spoil the surprise for us. We just want to see the first line to say whether it went through or not. Okay, so here's one way you can find out. Okay, so you just go all the way through to the beginning of the line. We're going to compile it and then say, go to the beginning of the line. Oh, is it? No, we don't need an ls-l. Sorry, I'm sorry. I think that's where you are.
Sorry, are you telling me to go to the beginning of the line, or are you?
Yeah.
explaining
You.
the terminal? will
Whoever's
send us
driving
to
the console.
beginning
Who's
of the
driving the
line?
console?
I am.
Thank you, Noah. Right, yeah, if you can go to the beginning of the line. But I thought you typed ls-l.
I did.
Yeah. So yeah, just get to the beginning of the line, and we'll just say g++. Yeah, g++ space main.cpp. Now, if the compilation succeeds, it is going to produce a file called a.l, okay, which you will see in the window. So you don't even want to see that file, yes? Because we don't want to know if it's, we just want to know if it succeeded or not. So we're going to tell it, create the output in the sync. And there is a name for the sync file in the operating system this website is created on, okay? So this sync file is called /dev space -o, right? That is the output. I want the output to go to /dev/ I think it's null, okay? Null. Right. There is a special device called, it's a device attached to the computer, virtual device, okay? Which is basically a sync. It says, anything you give me, I'll just send it to the black hole. Nobody will see it again. Yeah, there is a device like that, and it's called dev null. Anything you send into null is gone forever. How cool is that? Okay, you can actually use that in your programs like this too. You can open it as a file and write in your C++ programs too. All right. So anyway, so dev null, and you're going to say space main.cpp. Yeah, type m. Oh, you got main.cpp right there. Yeah, you got main.cpp already. So get rid of that main.cpp. I'm sorry, Noah. I'm sorry. I'm having to.
Which one? There's two now.
Yeah, get rid of the second one. Sorry. Yeah. Now we want to make sure that the output is restricted, right? We don't see anything. So let's say space, say space, and then you want to say greater than, and then ampersand. Oh no, greater than. Again, say /dev/null, meaning that not only do I want you to not produce an output file, I also want you to say whatever you want into the same black hole, right? Even if you don't write an output file, you want to tell me something, whatever you want to tell me, take that and put it in the sync also, right? So that's what that means, right? Saying, take the your output and send it to dev null. And I think the syntax we've got, can you do a left arrow? I want to see if the terminal left arrow works. Left arrow. Oh, great. Get rid of the ampersand, because I think that ampersand won't work here because it's a different shell. Okay. Right. All right. Now go to very end. And this is all jargon. You don't need to remember. I'm not going to explain this. Okay. But I'm just right. So greater than, again, great. And then you want to say 2 greater than. Okay. Don't even worry. No, 2 greater than, again, /dev/null. Now, don't worry about this. Okay. This is nonsense, crazy syntax. You don't need to know any of this right now. Okay. Now, if you hit enter, okay, hit enter. Okay, all right, now, all right, great, okay, absolutely nothing happened. You don't know, right? You don't see the output, a.out produced, you don't know if it worked or not, yes? Okay, all right, great. Now, here's what we're going to do. Now, up arrow again, and get rid of the 2 greater than, we'll see the entire output come out, right? Now, 2 greater than means, if you had any complaints, send it to the error stream, number 2, right? We took the error stream and sent it also to the sync. We'll say, no, error stream should come to the console. Now hit enter. All right, okay. So that was all the error that G++ was wanting to tell us. However, it went off into the error string. Now, however, we can hit up arrow one more time, right? Now, instead of /dev/ instead of 2 greater than dev null, you say space 2 greater than %1. Okay, I don't even know if we should waste time on all this but I think we've come this far. Let's just wrap this up. It is interesting history for you, right? You can look at this and actually learn this, all right? So and then put the whole thing, you want to hit Control A. Can you hit Control A one time? Control A. Now hit open parentheses. Now hit Control E. That will take you all the way to the other end. Now hit close parentheses. Right, now space and then put a vertical bar. Okay, now we're saying that is a command, okay, where the error is taken and stuck into the standard output, into the standard console, right? The console gets 2 pipes, it gets an error pipe. All of this is in C++. That's why I'm telling you, right? There's an CERR, that is number 2. C out is number 1, okay? The screen gets 2 pipes, CERR and C out. 2 is C out, CERR. Anything you say, that's why that's red, okay? CERR. And 1 is your, C out. 0 is your C in, and it's pointing inwards. Does this all make sense? Okay, we're talking
Yes.
about the operating system and how it ties into C++ here. Yes. Okay, so when your program starts up, your operating system gives you these 3 handles automatically, right? They give you CERR, which is tied to your, console, right? So what we said though was tell the shell, take your CERR number 2 and stick it on the back of C out, so that you only have 1 pipe coming out and C1. That's your standard. That is what 2 greater than address of 1 means. Okay, don't have to understand all that, right? That's all Unix. Right. Now what we did was we got that. All right, now pipe that to HE80, yeah, space HE80 space, just the first 5 lines. Okay, now this is what I do, right? When I run your question code. So that's why it's useful, right? You can increase the size of the console, by the way, Kanoa.
Wait, did I type that right?
No,
Or were you saying
HE80. No, not
HE80 like head?
Head space -5 space -5. Right. So yeah, increase the size of the console. I can explain that. This is what I do in questing, right? So in case when you see the build output in the questing window, yeah, and you say, well, there's the compiler failed, and this is what it told me. This is what I do. So I take the output, the entire output of the console, the compiler, okay, output of the error and the output, both console, both of them together, 2 and 1, club them together, okay? I club them together, just like what Noah's done now. And then I take, and then I chop it all off, except the first 10 lines, okay? And that's what I show you. Because, the compiler could give a lot of, crazy messages that would intimidate many 2A students, or any student, really. Even, professional programmers, they don't expect like a page of error sometimes. And you have to scroll all the way top, right? And so this is useful. The most useful information from a compiler is only the first 10 lines. So in fact, this will be useful for even you, right? When you start compiling on the command line, and Ali's not here today, right? And so we launched into this, thing with consoles and things, and nobody picked up and complained, right? But this won't be useful. Well, I think maybe Ali will find this useful, right? Because I don't think you can be a C++ programmer and not deal with the console and terminal at, in your life. Okay, so most other things you can, but I think to get this real juice of C++, you got to learn to deal with the console, right? Got the GUIs and everything. Fine, you can do that. You can even program by voice and things like that if you want. But at the bare bones, right? C++ gives you that that freedom that you can actually mingle with the electrons and basically say, wow, this is what it is. This is my landscape around me, right? And you can get that freedom. You can get that freedom in assembler. Totally, right? You can get that freedom in assembler. You can say, this is it, right? I am a single electron. I can control the CPU. So you get that feeling if you code in assembler or machine code, right? But it's not practical. Yes?
Yep.
C++ is a fantastic trade-off between the higher level languages where it's harder, right? I know rockstar programmers who don't know C++. Yes, they like Python and only scripting languages even. And many of them don't even know programming, by the way, right? But they're rockstar programmers. How about that, right? You will actually encounter people like that, right? They're actually programmers, but they don't know programming at all. Right? But they can give you the exact programming solution for any damn problem you want to solve, right? For example, if you want to say, I want to get to the shortest place, distance from here, they'll basically be able to say, well, this is the way you do it. And they'll describe it in a way that you can say, that is exactly Dijkstra's algorithm. And you say, oh, did you study computer science? Did you go there? No, they didn't do that. Because I know this, right? Because I know my grandfather never knew any programming, formal programming as we do it, right? But when I was young, he described many things to me. and said, this is how you do it. And I just do it blindly. And I didn't ask him why. And say, how did you do this? And even though, right? I went and asked him, right? It's not like, some method that's been handed down. I'm just talking about a way of thinking. This way of thinking, every civilization, every person, right, has this in them, right? If it's not been stamped down and wiped out. So I asked my grandfather, some complex problem I was dealing with, and a solution not obvious, and obviously not something that someone would have taught you and handed down, right? So how do you do this? And he said, no, if you do this, you get it, right? And later on, when I learned computer science, I said, wow, this problem when I had when I was a kid, and I asked my grandfather, this is what he explained to me. But how could he have done that to me, right? If he didn't know computer science, because the solution is not obvious, but this is the exact sequence of steps that you would follow if you knew the algorithm and the formal mathematical proof for it. But I'm sure he did not know formal mathematical proofs for many things, right? So I couldn't ask him to prove many things, but he had the solid sense. And like that, I'm pretty sure. So programming, I think, but getting that sense, I think, right? Getting that sense is far easier when you program in assembler. The reason I said that was because Java, Python, all these other things, you can also have that sense, meaning that you don't need to know programming to have that sense. But I think if you code in C++, it's a fantastic, especially if you know Python and Java and things like that, right? Then if you don't know C++, you're just throwing away a brilliant opportunity. It's just been handed it, right? Because it says you already know programming, right? Or, the hard part of it, or not the hard part of it, you know what's needed, right? To get the computer CPU to do things for you. Now, C++ gives you an opportunity to live the CPU, right? So it gives you an opportunity. Whether you take it or not is up to you, right? It lets you code in assembler without having to code in assembler. Yeah. I don't know, it's like a spiel for C++. I'm not even an ambassador for C++, right? But I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be C++. I'm saying, this kind of thinking about programming, right? I think it helps a lot. So what we're doing is, so head 5, this is what I do in questing, right? If you hit enter now, then we'll see the entire output of the compiler, but it's just chopped off, only the first 5 lines. Hit enter now. Oh gosh, it actually expired the terminal. I hope it didn't lose context. I think you'll have up arrow history. I think you'll have up arrow history at the very least. Up arrow? No?
Yeah, it's not happening.
Just type it in very fast. All right, I'll just type. This is what he typed. Okay, open parentheses. Can you just type in what I say? No, if you remember it, you can just go and type it, or otherwise I'll just read it off right now.
Yeah, go ahead and read it off.
G++ space -o main. Oh no, it's -o dev null /dev null /dev null. Not main. Sorry.
After main.cpp or before?
No. Dash after O should be /dev null.
Okay.
Yeah, a space main.cpp, and then close the parentheses, and then what do we do? No, inside the parentheses, you want to say greater than dev null, greater than dev null, greater than, no, not less than, greater than /dev null, and also 2 greater than address of 1, 2 greater than &1. Oh, it's not a dev null. Yeah, get rid of the greater than dev null. I'm sorry, get rid of the greater than dev null for now. All right, that was an error before. So I'm glad we actually got to now close the thing. Close the thing. Close the. I'm sorry. No, just close the parentheses. Yeah. Now pipe that to head. Pipe that to head. And space -5. All right. So that's basically it, right? So if you hit enter now, I think we'll get the first 5 lines. All right. So this is what I do in questing. Okay. I don't know why we had that other thing before. This is actually, I'm glad the thing got wiped out. Okay, this is the correct command. It says run it, take all the error, which might be pages and pages, but I don't care, right, about the pages and pages of error. I only need the first 10 lines. Okay, so I'll take the error, combine it with the output. The whole thing is now in parentheses in shell, which is shell treats that as one command in parentheses. Okay. So if it's one command, I can take the output of the one command and pipe it through to another command, which is called head. The head command is going to take the input and give me only the first 5 lines. Okay, so that's the power of different things that you combine together, right? Just like, as you go up, as when you become a manager, you're going to combine the power of engineers around you to create something that's even bigger, right? And your manager should be able to combine that, right? So hierarchies, where you can optimize the number of levels so you can get maximal output, right? It's all just a calculus, isn't it? So that's exactly what we're doing. In Unix, it's a practice for you, right? C++ and Unix, because Unix gives you lots and lots of bits and nuts and bolts like this. If you put them together in the right place, like the Mechanism set, you can get these incredible structures you can build. So you get these head and all these commands. You can combine them and jiggle the operator, input and output with C in and C out. You get these things. All right. So that's enough of a spiel really about C++, I think, right? And I'm sorry. Someone said something. I don't know. Someone had something. Was that useful? All right. So it didn't compile. Yes. Hey, anyway, coming back to our vote, right? So it didn't compile. Can someone take a guess and fix it? Right. There's one error. Okay. And I think that is the reason why it didn't compile. So if we fix that, we'll go back to the code and we can fix that error and come back here. Right. So fix that error and go back to the code. Yeah. So what is that one error? Okay. One thing that, look at the error. We got the error now, right? Those 5 lines. Can someone tell me what the error is by looking at those 5 lines? In fact, imagine I only gave you 2 lines.
Had to do the using namespace.
Yes. All right.
thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Who was that? Noah? Was that you?
Yeah.
Yes, it's just your voice. Okay. I can't say because of your voice, I could tell it was you. But I couldn't otherwise, the rectangle, the green rectangle wasn't shifting. So yeah, thank you. All right. So is everybody, yeah. Now, if he does the same command again in the console, will it work or not? Yes or no?
Probably.
No, probably. Okay. Yes or no?
Yes.
How many more? How many more? Yeses.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Hit enter. Hit enter. Yay! Okay. How do you know it worked or not? Okay. It said it produced no output. How do you know it worked or not? One way of finding out, actually, objectively in a program, is to say echo, 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 space, $? That says, did my previous command succeed or not? Okay. If it is 0, it means it succeeded. Okay. If it didn't succeed, it means it didn't succeed. Okay. That will not be 0. Okay. It'll be 1 or something else. Okay. So you can make decisions even in your shell code. So, all right. So now that means, what dev null, right? Now you can change your dev null to something else, right? Change up arrow again and change your dev null to some file, say, Noah, instead of dev null, say Noah. Now on the left you'll see Noah appear. Okay. Main. Where's main? There you go. Main. You see that main? Now you can actually run main. And before you run main, let's take a guess. Okay. Now here's where we go going to Kaylee's. Where's Kaylee gone? Oh, she had to leave early. Hopefully she'll see the video. Okay. So Kaylee said there's, maybe there is a logic thing here. Okay. So here we're going to take dibs here, trying to predict what will happen when you run it. Okay. So you can increase the size of the console again if you want, not all the way, but mostly. And so let's take dibs on, let's all go around the table saying what you think is going to happen when you run it as ./main, right? We're going to run this ./main. What is going to happen? Does anybody want to take a stab and saying what is going to happen?
The star is going to move right.
It's great. Sean says star is going to appear and move right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else? Hey, Sean, you're very faint. Okay, it's a very feeble microphone. Who else?
I think won't it be like 10 stars and then 9 stars and then 8 stars and then.
I see. Who was it? Noah. Noah said he's going to print a lot of stars and so on. Okay. Then so he's going to print.
Oh wait, no, it won't. I'm sorry.
I said, yeah, but go ahead, take another stab. This is just because we're just guessing what's going to happen. You can take anyone can take it. It can be multiple, right? It's not 1 or 2, right? It's a gray area. Anybody could say this is what it's going to happen. This is what is going to happen.
I think it would look like a diagonal popping up.
Okay, that's a good guess. Who said that? I can't see.
Van.
Okay. Again, the camera is like off. Your
forehead. Oh, sorry, I'm leaning back again.
All right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If your lips moved, I would have been able to tell. Yeah. Okay. So Van says it's going to be diagonal like that. Yeah, that's a very good guess.
So,
okay.
yeah,
even if he knew the answer and he said, deliberately injected that answer, I think it's a very good thing to inject into the conversation. Okay. Like that. Okay. All right. Does anybody else want to say something else?
Wait, Professor, can you rephrase what you're asking again?
If Noah types ./main and runs the program, what is it going to print? You can take a look at the code if you want, okay? Well, in fact, the code is right there. Yeah, it's right there.
Okay, if he prints or if he writes, okay, I see.
Yeah. Anybody,
So
right? Not
can you
just Zane.
explain-
Zane is on. Zane is actively talking. June, Fernando, Giovanni, Ashwath, Kai. Anybody can take a guess.
Sorry, Professor,
Justin.
can you explain again what does /R do visually?
/R is a carriage return character. It will return to the beginning of the same line instead of going to the next line.
Okay.
Okay. So enter has two characters. If you hit enter or /n is actually two characters. /n is /R plus a /n because the operating system, the cout interprets /n as two characters, but technically they're two characters. /R is just go to the beginning, go to the don't go to the next line. /n is go to the beginning and go to the next line.
Gotcha. So okay, so there's no new line. It would still probably be a diagonal, I guess. But yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you.
If cout doesn't add a new line on its own, then it would just be asterisk space asterisk space space, right?
That's
Okay, so-
who's saying this, by the way?
Justin.
That's a very good observation. And as you were saying this, and as I was thinking about what you're saying, I realized there's something missing in what we need to do. All right, in order to get the
Gotcha.
behavior I have in mind. Okay. After
Okay.
that, on line 15, go to the end of line 15. End of line 15 and hit enter. Hit enter. Okay. Now what we want to do is say cout dot flush. Cout dot. No. Cout dot flush. Cout.
Like as in like call like a method attached to
Oh,
it.
did it autocomplete? Can you get the FL and then I think I saw something blue, right? Can you back?
I don't know if
No,
this,
cout dot F. No, it didn't. Okay, F flush. I think that's what it is. Someone can Google and find out. That statement will say what happens is endl. Did we talk about this before? I think we did, right? Endl says send a new line and also flush the console, right? Default behavior is not to flush. It'll only flush when it says new lines. We're not sending new lines. So what happens if you're sending all these spaces, it's not flushing and the same character, right? You don't flush until we get a new line, the effect won't be there. So we're saying despite no new line, flush by force. That is what cout.flush means. Does it make sense? It's on, I'm only not belaboring this so much and not cross-checking because it's all on recorded video and you can always go back and look at the video because these are such important concepts that I feel guilty a little bit. I would feel guilty a little bit if I just said, this is what it is, let's move on. This is what it is, let's move on. Okay, because these are important and each of these builds on the previous things. I need you to understand these things because otherwise you will not be able to appreciate the whole power. Yes or no? Okay, so is it okay with you that some of these things maybe you don't understand? That's fine. But if you keep missing a lot of these things, then it is important that you reach out to me or your classmates or someone, right? Make sure you're in step with us, right? This is week 6. The train is going to start getting into the second gear, essentially. Yes? So if you've been struggling in first gear, it's going to be much harder now. Yes or no? Okay, all right. And then now, why? It's not even a question of getting a bad grade, right? Or failing or things like that. Why waste this incredible opportunity that you've been given? It's $170 only, right? It's not like you're going to a big college paying, $50,000. But even if you pay $50,000, you may not get this opportunity. And for you got this incredible opportunity to learn whatever the hell you want, right? And I'm happy to teach this to you. So you should take the time, and it's okay if you don't understand some things, and go back and ask in the forums. Everybody's there to help. Okay, this is all important. It's not like it's just paper stuff. I need to get this paper and move on. It's like totally useless, right? It'll be great if each of you progresses all the way on to the red quest number 9. Okay, ace all of the quests and apply for an internship at Nonlinear Media, right? Something like that. And I would be happy to work with some of you guys. So because that way you'll see the power of C++ and enjoy it. And so yeah, all right, good. We've got a couple of guesses. Okay, we got a diagonal line and then a series of stars. Any other guesses? We can actually run it and find out what the hell happens. Yes or no? Oh, we also need after that previous cout on line 11. we also need the cout flush, right? And the flush, we need the flush right there. Slash.
Where?
Line 11, go to the end of, yeah, and hit enter, and you need a cout flush there. I think that should do it. All right, yeah, thanks, that was important. So if you run it now, I think we'll get the, we'll get the desired behavior, which we're going to use as a basis for our display with effect class. That's why this is so important. And that's the reason we spent so much time on this. And hopefully on Thursday, each one of you will be coding your own effect using this kind of behavior. Okay, that's why this is important. All right, so if we hit enter now, oh, I see, we got main. All right, so say /main, increase the size of the console so that we can actually run it and see what the hell happens.
You want me to recompile it or?
Yeah, recompile it. Yeah, thank you. All right, now increase the console and all right, now we'll actually see what's going to happen. All right, in your mind, picture it, and then you can kind of, compare it. What happened? I didn't see it. One more time. Oh, so fast. All right, change the inner loop. Go back to the code. Change that inner loop number to from 1,000 to maybe just got optimized out. That's also possible. Yeah, make that 100,000 for now. All right. You got to compile and run it one more time. So yeah, up arrow 2 times and then up arrow 2 times again, or 3 actually. Okay, all right. You see that effect? You can have 100 too. Yeah,
That's super cool. Yeah.
that's kind of cool, isn't it? All right, so this is the basic idea. However, you got to heed the comment that Noah put there, saying never use a for loop like that to introduce delays in your program. You have to promise me that, all right? You don't have to follow the promise, obviously, but do you agree that that's a bad idea? Okay, because if you Google how can I introduce delays into C++ programs, you'll find like 1 billion hits. Okay, so you shouldn't be using for loops like this. You can use official ways of sampling the clock and saying, I want to go to sleep and give up the CPU for someone else for 0.75 seconds. That's actually possible. Okay, so if you wanted to do 20 frames per second, which is reasonable for animation, you can say 20 frames per second is every 200 milliseconds, every 50 milliseconds, yes, or something like that. 20, whatever, 1 minute divided by 20, right? So you can say I want an alarm, and there's a way to do it, right? In C++, Stack Overflow will give you 5 lines of code. All right, every 5 lines, I'm going to print a /r and go to the beginning, right? And then you'll actually see 50, animation happening on one line. The only catch here is that you can do any animation you want, okay? Except that animation has to be one-dimensional on one line. Yes? Because in order to go up and down, you can't just do with /r. You got to have funny characters, and we're not going to deal with funny characters. Do you guys have any questions? We'll do one together, obviously, right? We'll do one class together. The first object, not Noah, right? Because he probably wants a break, but someone else will do. Not yet Noah, right? We'll build the first class together, and then just like Lucky, everybody will get a chance to build their own. Yeah, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that an interesting enough and useful exercise for maybe this week and beginning of next week, or into next week? Is that interesting enough for us? I think it'll also be our second project that we can share.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
I think I can make sure this will cover classes, objects, methods, passing parameters to methods, static values. There are lots of important things to do with classes, and I think this has scope for covering all of those aspects. So in fact, we can run with this for 3 weeks, but that doesn't mean you should put it off for 3 weeks, okay? And this is what we need to get done this week. So I got a bunch of milestones now in my head, right? This is our milestone to get to understand this and build our first class, first object. The second milestone is going to be each person has their own object, right? Now, our own display effect. Now, one effect is this, okay? The other effect is you have an 80 character string in your mind, right? Or in your program. I'm going to describe this. This is how you're going to do it, okay? Let's say your console is 100 characters wide. And I want some feedback or someone to stay in step with me because I can't proceed otherwise, okay? So someone has to volunteer to say yes, yes, something like that, okay?
Gotcha.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. All of you, And whoever's saying yes and yes, that person is on the line now. If somebody else doesn't understand it, they're going to ask that person. Ivan, is that okay?
Wait, can you clarify that?
You're not like totally responsible, but if someone doesn't understand it, because you're going to say yes, yes, you can ask me questions, obviously, before you say yes.
Okay,
Okay. Someone does not want to ask me, they can ask you. Is that okay?
oh, yeah, definitely. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
So
of
I'm
course,
going to be basically talking to Van, but essentially all of you. All right.
All right.
Here's what we're trying to do. We have in our program, let's go to our program. And Noah, I'll get you started. Okay. Go to your program. And let's put some comments right at the bottom saying this is what you guys are going to have to do, right? Right at the bottom, right at the bottom. Okay, put some open comment. In fact, start a block comment. Start a block comment so you don't have to put the 2 forward slashes beginning. All right. So this is what we're going to have to do in our own classes. No, you know, all right, up to you, right? You're going to have to, because then now you can't press a simple carriage return. You got to press the down arrow or mouse. Okay, so this is what we're going to have to do for our second project. Type this in. Type this in. This is what because Kaylee's not here and she doesn't have to listen to me. She can just look at the score and
Type what in?
And Ali too. So this is what we're going to have to do for our second project. Is everybody okay with this? Van, good?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. On the next line, we're going to say define a string of, let's say, 100 characters. Right, and make it all blanks. Make it all blanks. 100 blank characters. Make it 100 blank characters. Yeah, whatever. All blanks. Okay, spaces, not empty. Right, the people have to know it's not empty. It's all blanks. So it's got 100 blanks in it. Yes.
Yes.
It does not have to be. On the next line, say it does not have to be a string. It could also be an array or a vector of 100 characters. We're just using a string because it's easier. All right.
Okay.
So let's just make that a point so that people understand that. Okay. Yeah. Can be an array or a vector. String. Yeah. Is easier. Great. Thank you. So now what we're going to do is during each iteration of the loop. Yeah, this is it, of the loop. Yeah, during each iteration of the loop, of the outer loop, let's just say outer loop. Outer loop, we are going to print that string. We're going to print that string and a /r character flush to the beginning of that line. And wait for a few microseconds. Use Google to find out how to wait best. Yeah, or use help from Google or your classmates to find out how to wait. Use and put in parentheses. You can say use Google or your friends to find out how to wait. Yeah. All right. Now, so the effect of this, also put in parentheses on the next, where you have start a parenthesis saying you may or may not have to clear out the existing line by printing all 100 blanks before you start, right? A few microseconds, and then loop, right? And then loop back to the beginning, and then loop back to the beginning.
Sorry, say that. What did you want me to type?
I'm sorry, Noah. Get rid of you may have for now. And say, and then go back to the beginning of the loop until your desired message appears on screen, and then you can decide that. Okay. So as an example, you say my 80 character string is going to be hello here and Noah here. Yes, and lots of spaces in between. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now I'm going to print that and then wait for a few microseconds. And I'm going to change that string. Oh, that's not there. Okay. Did we change that? Hang on. This is what we're going to do. Define a string of make it all blanks, a character during each iteration. Print that string a slash all character, wait for a few microseconds, use Google. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, before we go back to the beginning of the line, thank you. All right, so in fact, we need a one line before that, one line before that, After waiting for a few microseconds, right?
Gotcha.
We want to say modify our string. And then go to the beginning of the loop until your desired message appears. So we have hello, lots of blanks, Noah, right? It's printed, wait for a few microseconds. The string is modified, meaning the hello and Noah move towards each other. Can you do that with the string? Yeah, and
Yeah.
wait for a few seconds, print that.
Gotcha.
So it'll look like the old one is gone. So you got to clear it, right?
Kind of like a teleprompter slowly moving across.
Yeah.
Like
Ticker tip,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay, so
So-
we're gonna do this. Okay, so we're gonna replace the dots with a sentence, and the whole thing's gonna
Yes,
shift just like
yes,
before.
and
Gotcha.
so we only talked about two different ways of animation, right? Words moving
Yeah.
towards each other, and then this dot moving. So, but imagine how many different ways you can do this. You can start with, matrix style random characters, and they're rolling into place until you get a final message. So we can put a hint there for other students at the end. You know that you can break out of the outer loop as soon as the modified string matches some target string. Okay, I think
Gotcha.
that'll be easier for you guys. So you can keep an
Okay.
infinite loop, and the characters are juggling around when they match this, and you can come out of the loop. Yeah.
For the modified string to match with the target string, would that also have to include the dead space between the strings? So if it's
You have
100
to make sure.
above-
Yeah, these are all very good
Yeah.
points. Yeah, very good
Yeah.
points, and you'll find out because many things you do won't work, right? But you know
Okay.
what you need to do to get it to work. You'll find it very easily because all visual,
Gotcha.
so-
Okay.
right? So the manufactured string has to match exactly. Your 100 characters should be exactly the 100 characters in the target.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah,
that there was a
secret.
couple inside of C++ when I was looking at some on the online directory. There was a couple of functions called like find or find of that just targets a
Don't.
specific-
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So,
String
okay.
into the string lane, the string drives, the string library has a lot of things. All right,
Yeah.
let's add some more comments here. On the next line, after line 29, watch out for. Okay, so after line 29, hit enter after line 29. Yeah, and then say watch out for.
Watch out for.
When you modify the string, it should always converge, meaning it should somehow approach the target string. What happens if it keeps on changing and never matches the target string? You're never going to come out. Yes. So you got to have your target string should be no, hello, Noah, like this, so that eventually like this. If they cross over and keep going, they're just going to keep bouncing back and forth. They never match. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so those things you'll run out and find out. Okay, so that's why I say watch out. The other thing is note, on the next line you say note, don't use any of the functions in the string library. Here we're just using string as an array of characters.
Say that one more time.
Don't use any functions in the string library. Here we're using string as just an array of characters. Yeah.
Hypothetically,
Here,
if you have-
you don't have to do that. Here we're doing it like that.
a question for Professor?
Yeah, Van.
If you have a word coming from the left and a word coming from the right, what's the chances of like the actual word overlapping? Like you
Yeah.
can't share the same box or anything. Do they just kind of like skip each other? or
They'll
does
have
it
to hit
come
each other.
first?
They'll hit each other, right? If you don't break
Yeah.
out of the loop, they're going to hit each other and cross and go on.
Gotcha. But I mean, like they each share like a small little box. So if hello and Noah collide, the first letter and the last letter will like literally be on top of each
Oh,
other.
yeah. How you do this is going to be, you have that array of characters, right? You're gonna redo the whole string. You're gonna say, oh well, this character has to move here, so I'm gonna put a blank here and take whatever is here, move it here. So you're gonna say,
Okay.
yes, string of n equals string of n minus 1. String of n minus 1 equals string of n, and so on and so forth, like that. So you're gonna move
Okay.
things together. You're gonna have little loops there. So you'll have scope for lots and lots of playing around.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
you can have, I'm going to use loops to move characters around. I'm going to use random to generate random characters. So many different ways you can do animations here. You can do sparkling effects. You can have characters jumbled around and falling into the right places. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Gotcha.
what I mean is the scope for creativity is endless practically. You can do lots and lots of funny things just in one dimension. So imagine how much they could have done in 2 dimensions, right? That's why it took such a long time for us to get GUIs.
Yeah.
All right. All right, great. Because we were using, even editors. VI was a very good editor. You can just edit anywhere on screen, right? Using the cursor library.
Mhm.
That wasn't possible before. You could only edit streams. You had,
I see.
add and set, right? VI came along and said, use cursors and you can go anywhere on the screen. So that was a boon. And that we lived for that for a long time, very long time. Even now on the terminal, that's what, the shell uses.
I see. Okay.
All right, so this is a one-dimensional curses. That's why you can call it, display with effect if you want. Noah, thank you so much for typing. We can go ahead and implement the first object if you want right now. What time is it? We've got a half hour, or we can start on Thursday. That's okay with me too. Now you guys can carry on a conversation, ask other questions, or play around with the code, do more things. It's okay if we don't start classes today, but you have to read about classes and objects before coming to Thursday's class, because we will start implementing this class at the word go. Right? We will start with the class display with effect or curses 1D and implement the first method, which is going to be something like, I don't know, I haven't, maybe one of your methods, or if nobody's written one, we'll start and implement one ourselves and say, we'll do this thing, right? We'll take, Noah, hello Noah, or, Van Berry, right? So Van is going to start here, Berry is going to start there, and then our target string is going to be Van Berry in the middle. Yeah.
Cool.
And then we'll make sure that they meet. However, they meet and also meet, it's possible to meet and then overlap and then cross over, right? That is the danger of quicksort. My cs2c students get bitten by that all the time. When you do sorting and you have pivot points, right? If you're finding a pivot in an array, you get runners from two ends of the array and they're coming towards each other. And most of the time, when you implement quicksort, you'll forget to find out when to break out of the loop and they cross over. And then if you cross over, that's it. It's an infinite loop. You just keep doing that and the program doesn't, end at all. So this is a good way to find out this kind of effect, and it'll be fun. Was this useful so far? I think we covered useful concepts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Although we didn't do classes today, as we still have time to do it, but I would prefer not to. We'll wait until Thursday until you guys are solid with the material. You've got to read it. Okay, you got to come to class already prepared. So you should have read about classes, and when you come, we'll start implementing this. We don't have to take the code that Noah's written, right? I think this is fun, and it was a useful exercise, and it was, it brought to light a lot of interesting things that would otherwise have gone unnoticed. Yeah, in your journey on the Blue Sea. Yes, because you can learn about C++.
No, could you drop the link for this so I can see if I could snag the code?
Yeah, totally. Let me just make sure it's shareable and stuff first.
You guys want to I can just turn the laptop around, and then you guys carry on a conversation. You can call me if you want, right? Do you want to do that thing as usual? You can also code and share code windows. If you have any questions about
I just sent the link, by the way.
Oh, you sent the link. Thanks. Okay.
How about that? Do you
email?
You want me to hang around? You want me to hang around now or not?
I had a question. I sent you an email yesterday for office hours, just to go over some quest questions if you have time.
Absolutely. We should talk about questions here. That's fine. As long as it's general, because it shouldn't be office hours, because it shouldn't benefit one student and then it's a pain, right? Someone has to summarize it, that student has to share it on Reddit and they won't do it. I don't want.
Right. I just didn't want to take up space if there was class time going on.
No, this is fine. In that case, what you should do is just post on Reddit. That's free space.
Yeah, so I did, and I'm still stuck on Quest 4 because there was a bunch of I think it's the last 3 mini quests were just, I can't tell if it's the code that I'm having, but it's running perfect, absolutely perfect inside of coding rooms. But when I submit to the questing site, the interaction is completely different than what I was getting. So I didn't know if it was my code specifically is being a little bit jumbled up. I don't really know what the nature of this thing is. So I just wanted to talk to you to see what the troubleshoot would be, how to get past it. So I don't know if anyone's still stuck on Quest 4 because we just submitted Quest 5 or should have or something like that.
How about this week? This week I'll freeze Quest 1 to 4. Okay, all four frozen at the end of this week.
Okay, because yeah, so I'm just stuck with working with like the questing site.
No. You shouldn't be stuck working with the questing site. It should be pretty straightforward and easy to use. No, this is a standard error. It's not the questing site. It's with your code.
Okay, but the thing, okay, so like the code's working. I'm doing the
No. I don't think so. If you run it on your IDE, right? Maybe coding rooms, get it to work on your IDE, right? Get all the test cases, all possible test cases. If you post, and then I'm pretty sure someone would point out, well, maybe let's say Fibonacci, right? Or GCD. Right? Let's say GCD, say it works. Maybe you tried a few cases, right? But someone could say, well, no, maybe that's right. But a professional would say, what would happen if I give it -1? What would happen if I give it 0? Well, one of the numbers was 0, and things like that, right? You got to account for all of those cases, and maybe you're not testing that in coding rooms, and that's why it's working.
Okay, well, it showed the it's a really interesting thing because I don't know if you want to check my submissions. I have been using coding rooms and the questing site. I've been poking questing site kind of like the way you're poking a brain to like see if a nerve would twitch. I have a lot of submissions on the site, so it's I noticed what happened. It's the code works perfect when I carry it and implement it into coding rooms, from coding rooms to the questing site, but you need to create a string for the 5th mini quest to count the number of like a plus coefficient times d, sum that up, put it into a string. I don't know if you remember that one. It works on like perfect, but then I collapse a white space in the string, and then all of a sudden the line becomes like 1, 3, 5. It's going perfect, and then it goes to -65,821, and then it increments from that starting point down to there. So I noticed that it's really just the white space, and I don't know, is that coding rooms? Is there something wrong with my code?
It's not coding rooms, it's your code. And my take on it is that you're facing all the right kinds of things, right? These are the right kinds of errors to face, because that kind of exposes you to why, because most people don't see these errors. And because you got a big ass number now, you can actually find out. It's a very useful hint.
Okay, great. I just want to know like how to progress from there, because the only thing that's causing this whole thing to collapse is a white space.
No, I don't think it's you have to we can look at this code, right? You can share some of the code on the forums and say what's going on here, and people will be, that's fine, right?
Oh, so that's allowed if I share some blocks?
No, you can take a fragment and say this fragment is supposed to do this, but it's not, right? And if it's problematic, I'll delete it and I'll let you know. It's not like bad or anything, right? I'll let you know because I'm following these. So yeah, so you can do that. 99.9% the problem is in the code, and it's unlikely because of the white. It's not because of the white space. It's something else. And the big number indicates to me that there is a signed unsigned issue here. When you decrement 0, it goes to -1, but it's actually a big number, because -1 is not possible to represent in data representation. -1, there is no representation for -1 in a signed unsigned number. It's got to be a big number.
Oh no, I remember reading that. So so I would fix this by taking all of. Yeah, no, I've had a couple issues with signed, unsigned. So what I did is
it'll take a while to figure out, but you keep banging on your head on, especially for Python and Java programmers. Okay. Because they don't have any idea what signed and unsigned is, because that bit for them, that extra bit that C++ says should not be wasted, is basically wasted by Python programmers and Java, any other program, right? In C++, even one bit should not be wasted. If it's signed, we'll use the entire thing. If it's unsigned, we'll use the entire thing still.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you need to get bitten by that, and then you'll get a new appreciation of how you get more space, double the space. Essentially, this is one extra bit in C++ gives you double the space. Anything you can get in Java and in Python, you can get 2 times that in C++, because you get one more bit for every byte.
Could you explain then? Because
for one bit, you can have you have one world for the 0 bit. You have an another world for the 1 bit.
Yeah.
So you have 2 replicas of the same thing that are different in only 1 bit.
Yes.
So basically, whatever you had before, you doubled it. The space is now double.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. It's just that they were coexisting. The code was coexisting and it was running smooth, because I agree. I do have one unsigned, and I have another sign. So there's a mix of the two.
Somewhere in
and
there,
there's-
there's, yeah, something is wacky, okay? You can
Yeah.
figure it out. You can discuss in the forums and people will help you too. That's fine. And just not, this is my quest code. Why doesn't it work? No, that's what I don't like. And I thought, if I allowed people to just post quest code, that's what they'll do. But your kind of question is a legit question. You've been struggling with it and saying, oh, this loop is not doing what I want. This is what I want it to do. How would I state that in a loop? And here's what I'm doing. Someone will say, no, this is the way to do it. That's the good kind of question to ask, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing that I didn't want is can someone share the code for mini quest 7?
Yeah, just copy and paste stuff.
Yeah, copy and paste I don't like. Yeah, I don't think that helps anyone.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
share
it's,
this message, right? Lots of people are not here. Please share this with Kaylee, and Ali's not here, and some of the other regulars have I don't see also. So share.
Professor,
Zane, yeah.
quick question. So I remember seeing on the midterm last week that there would be 2 attempts, but when I took it, there was only 1. Was that intentional or was
No,
that
I'll reopen it for everyone in week 11. Is that okay?
week 11? Okay, so the
Yeah,
midterm
someone
is
remind
gonna
me.
be open.
Someone remind me at the beginning of week last quarter. I asked Alexa to remind me, but one of you can just as well remind me, saying, "Hey, Prof, it's week 11. Can you reopen this midterm?" I'll just.
So it's going to be like the midterm material, but like read
Exactly
it.
the same. You may get slightly different questions.
Okay.
oh wait, so there is going to be a question change in there?
It's
Did you
slightly
say-
different. No, many questions will be the same.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
So,
Many
but-
questions will be the same. You'll get a few different questions, and we'll keep the best of the scores.
Okay.
All right, week 11. But don't. Yeah, you should be solid now. Otherwise, your remaining quests will suffer.
is that
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be different than the final?
Hmm?
Or is that the final?
Yeah, it's no. Midterm is all on the first 6 weeks, no classes, right? So if you're still learning midterms material in week 11, you'll probably fail the final.
Oh, no. Well, when we're going to be taking this midterm in week 11, and
And
we're
week 12
gonna,
is final.
what's that?
Week 12 is
Week
your
12
final.
is a final.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a final. So that's not just going to represent the final.
No,
It's gonna
no
be a
way.
second-
No. You get one more
Okay,
crack
gotcha.
at your midterm for week 11.
So we got a second crack on the midterm. Okay.
No second crack at your final. Is that what you asked?
No. Second crack at the midterm. I was wondering if the second crack at the midterm would technically represent the final because it was that, but I know that.
No.
there's something-
That's it. You have
Okay,
another
gotcha.
crack.
So we have.
If you want, I can
two
give you more
separate-
quizzes too. Yeah, I have more quizzes. But previously students told Ram that they're getting too many tests in this class, and that's why I took quizzes out.
Oh, I see.
I got quiz. If you want to take a quiz anytime, just let me know. Right? If not for credit, extra credit.
For fun.
Could you make like even like practice quizzes or something?
No.
Just to-
This is fine. You'll have a practice midterm. It's exactly it's the same as your midterm. Just a fewer number of
Okay.
questions, just to get a format familiarity.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then one quick thing. I'm still finishing up the last function for the 5th quest. Is that froze yet? Or is there still a bit of
No.
time?
I said I'll only freeze the quest 1 to 4 at the end of this week. So you got lots of you have got lots and lots of extra time now, right?
Oh, so wait, they're all open still? All 4?
I will freeze, yeah, because at least the guys who've been working hard. Now I think I'll leave the ones who've just started now, okay, or in the last week or so. But if you've been working hard on 1 or 2 quests and you've been trying every
Yeah.
day at least,
Okay.
yeah, I'll take all of the scores from quest 1 to 4 until the end of Friday.
Okay. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
into Canvas, and I think I'll import on Saturday.
Okay. Awesome.
Also,
Thank you.
when I was reading the syllabus, did I understand it right that if we complete the very last quest?
Yes, you can go back and fix up any of your previous
And
quests.
that's everything. So everything just becomes.
Every
open
single
again.
thing, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So really, it's kind of just we're able to just speed run it to the last
Yeah,
one.
you
come
can,
back
yeah,
and get-
like Halo. Yeah. You
Yeah,
can
like
do it.
right. Gotcha. Perfect. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Did you play Halo, Professor?
I try little. I think when my son used to play, but he was like he used to play big time at one point, but
Mhm.
not so much no more.
I think the first Halo was programmed in C++.
I'm pretty
Was
sure
it?
many of them were. Bungie was a C++ house. I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Like Unreal is C++, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Bungie was Unity. I don't know, or C# or something. But
Yeah.
Unreal is definitely C++.
What was one of the what were the which one there was a, who was Unity? There was a really big one that
Crisis,
made, what's that?
Crisis.
Oh,
It was a big, it was the first big realistic graphic rendering real-time engine. It is
Gotcha.
different from Unreal, but you can get Unreal quality real-time grass moving effects and everything in Crisis. They had a game called Crisis,
right,
CRYSIS.
yeah. I remember that.
CRYSIS. And
Gotcha.
I think that was
Classic.
really, really fancy, right? And I was introduced to it by my son, actually. And that's when I got hooked. Well, hooked in the sense I really started appreciating the level of detail that these people are getting into these days, right? And the graphics engine. And then I remember we bought a external graphics card with a fan, was really loud, noisy and loud and all. But now you can get, a fantastic performance even from your motherboard, many computers.
Yeah. You play any games?
No, not so much these days. In fact, I don't even watch Netflix or Prime, even though I have these memberships. Mostly my kids. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Hey, you guys, there's only 7 minutes. You guys should just feel free to talk amongst yourself, right? I shouldn't be butting in on all your conversations. How about, do you want like 7 or 10 minutes? Just, I'll turn the laptop around to face the trees, and then you guys can talk.
We like getting to know about what you're into as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
really
have any problems. You can also schedule an off schedule Zoom, and I can just come by on a Saturday, Sunday, whenever off schedule, and I can talk about anything you want, not C++, right? Anything under the sun.
Gotcha.
What else have you been like up to besides teaching? Like, have you been?
Nothing really. No, I just hang around, and I just, when people ask me stuff I know, I tell them. Otherwise, I just hang around and sit around.
Do you have a favorite coding language? I feel like I might have asked this before, but I forget.
No, I don't have a favorite coding language. Because in different places you have to code in different ways, right?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, like I wouldn't dream of coding some, like JavaScript is perfect for web apps.
Oh, I hear. Okay.
And Python is fantastic for lambdas, even though you can do it in Node and I think and other server-side languages. If you want to
Gotcha.
write a lambda, Python is perfect, right? There's so many libraries for number crunching. C++ is perfect if you want to get right down to the bits and bytes. And be the CPU, right? Be the CPU without having to learn assembler.
Right.
Assembler,
Yeah.
C++ is such a fantastic midway house because it says you don't have to learn the intricacies of assembler, but you can get the power of assembler if you just learn a little bit more than Java.
I heard C++ was one of the first, or was there some predecessors to that one? So
I'm sure. I think C was the first language.
Yes.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I have in my memory lane. Don Knuth. Do you guys know Don Knuth, Stanford?
The name rings a bell. Yeah.
Donald Knuth, yeah, he's a prof emeritus at Stanford now, and he's the author of the Fundamental Algorithms book, right? It's so beautifully. You don't even have to read any of Donald's work, right? I found anyway, right? Even if you don't understand the technicalities of it, because I've read some of his books, even concrete mathematics, right? And there are some intricate proofs, right? And it's true, obviously, but you cannot follow the proof unless you have incredible background knowledge in some of these fields, right? So you just tend to read it, and I say, well, should I read it or not? Because I'm not going to understand it. But then he makes the proofs so much fun to read anyway, right? Because he's got interesting trivia, interesting stuff, interesting ways of saying things, just playing with language, right? So his books and all of his writings. In fact, I've only been to one, maybe, or just I should have been to more. When I used to live in Palo Alto, he used to give a talk every week at the Presbyterian Church. No, Lutheran Church on Middlefield, Embarcadero in Palo Alto. It's just walking distance from where I lived, and I could have gone. And I used to keep saying, it's like, people who live in the Vatican never see the Pope, right? I used to say, if you're living in the Vatican, you probably see him on the way to Trader Joe's and say, hey, Pope, what you buy today, right? But, but if you never go and see him. And I never saw him, and unfortunately, I'm not there now. But it's fun. You can see it on video, and you can see all of it. It's all on YouTube. You don't have to go anywhere, right? But anyway, where was it going with that? Where was I going with Don Knuth? Who asked the question? We started talking about that.
I forget what we asked. I think it was.
The language. Yeah,
right,
yeah. In the beginning, there was just assembler. Okay. Everybody was coding in bits and bytes and assembler, which was like mnemonic with 3-letter mnemonics, MOV, SAV, and things like that. Okay, it's really painful to remember. And these were one-to-one mappable to machine instructions in ones and zeros. So you can either write in hexadecimal or go in ones and zeros, or you can say instead of hexadecimal E4, A2 and so on, I'll just use these mnemonic words like MOV, SAV, and so on. MOV is actually just before some bit pattern. Yes or no? Does it make sense? So that is coding in machine code. Now that's how everybody used to code, and it was a real pain. So and then Don said, this is a real pain. Only von Neumann can write a program in ones and zeros. For us ordinary humans, thinking that he's an ordinary human himself, right? We want a language not like von Neumann. We want to write in English. So we want a language that is readable by humans. And Intel has its own assembly language, and Motorola has its own assembly language. So we need an abstract assembly language which everybody can understand, that people can look at and say, oh well, in this abstract assembly language, he says move something from here to here. So in Intel, that's actually MOV X1 X2, right? So he came up with a language like that for the very first time, which is not proprietary to any company, and he called that mixed. Right? So that is an assembly language, which is just composed of one-word tokens, which basically are pretty much the same as any other assembly language. But it's interesting enough and useful enough, and it's rich enough to use to embody any of the languages, any of the Turing computable things, any algorithm, any algorithm you can write in that language. But it's still an assembly language, right? So he started writing his fundamental algorithms books and all his sophisticated algorithms that he's published over the years, and other people's algorithms too, using mixed, and saying this is what the algorithm is. But even then, you can see, right, how if it is hard for people to understand Dijkstra's algorithm in Python, how hard will it be for them to understand the same algorithm if it was stated in mix? Right? And how much more impossible if it was stated in ones and zeros like von Neumann?
Impossible.
Right? So anyway, so he said, all right, so even mix is not cutting it. So he came to the realization, I think maybe after writing a couple of books, right? Said, okay, I got all these really cool algorithms that I want to say, describe and teach to other people, but I can't use mix, right? Even though mix is really cool, I need a better language. Yeah. So he started a movement. This is all ancient history, right? This is all from a fringe of my own memory.
Yeah.
He started a movement when he was, I don't know if he wasn't even emeritus at that time. He was a regular prof at Stanford. And I think it was called literate programming. Literate programming meaning programming should not just be restricted to nerds who know ones and zeros, right? It should be available to anyone who is able to be artistic. Literary people.
Yeah.
Because programming is a way of expressing yourself. Just know the language.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be a language in its own right. Yes.
Yeah.
So it should give you the power to express anything you want. In fact, today programming has given you the power to do more than what human language can do. You can reach right into the tendrils of your brain and map into visual neurons. And very soon you can wear a headset and have a realistic experience, even tactile senses of being somewhere. And you have no idea. It'll be like Total Recall. You'll have a real experience, but it's been programmatically delivered to you. Yes? All of that is possible very soon. So programming started off as ones and zeros that humans cannot understand. And it's basically just made its way insidiously, but in a good way, right into the very core of our being to shape it in a way that we want. So we can tell it, program me in that way because I can't do it with my clumsy fingers. But program me because that's what I want, and it'll go and do it for us. Yeah. So as long as we know what we want, right? So the danger with that is that we just need to know. Once we have the power to do whatever we want, we just need to know, do we want the right thing now? Before we let it loose, let's make sure. Because as soon as I let it loose, we're going to get what we want. So before that, let me make sure I know what I want, right?
Yeah, big question, yeah.
All right. So that is a question that is going to face humanity. We have the answer for that if we just care to look, right? But many people don't look. They just facing power and glory and ego. And that doesn't lead to happiness, right? So once we retract at the point when you say, now I can have whatever I want, I'm not beholden to anyone, right? Anyone can come and knock me on the door. I'm happy to tell them what I want, what I know, or what I think. And if you believe otherwise, you can believe otherwise. I don't care. As long as you're not forcing me to believe what you want, I'm happy with you. And we can have a beer together. Yes. So when, that kind of attitude, and then you'll be completely free, because when you're totally free, you're not beholden to anyone, any technology. And then you say, I have the power now to be whatever I want. That's the time then people can sit back and say, well, at this point I can have whatever I want. Now let me find out what I want before I go after what I want. Yeah. So then we sit down, and then, peace and tranquility and sitting down to think about what you want becomes important. I don't know if that was all useful. It's past time. It's 2:10.
That was useful.
Computer, class time. So I don't know if we talked about any useful computer. Yeah, we did talk about CS. We didn't talk about objects, but we did talk about lots of useful computer stuff, right? And stuff that you should know. Unix.
Can't wait to try out doing the teleprompter thing too next week.
Which
Or next week.
yeah. That's really cool. Someone should do a ticker tape effect, right? Ticker tape. You give it a set of strings.
Yeah.
Like New York, the ticker tape effect. You know the ticker tape effect?
No, can you describe? Oh, I probably do.
Marquee. It's called Marquee. You can Google for MARQUEE.
MARQUE. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Marquee is basically a string. It'll just a string that'll keep floating in a ribbon like this. Except our ribbon is not going to twirl around in 2 dimensions. Our ribbon is just going to go like this, like a flag. Like a plane dragging a sign.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah. Okay.
A plane dragging a sign. You can do that easily. No?
Marquee. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a marquee. I think you can do that.
Okay,
easily.
cool.
So yeah, we didn't talk about objects, but I think this will lay the foundation for objects really nicely, because we're going to do this starting now. Was this useful?
Oh yeah, definitely. No, can't wait.
Thank
Also,
you.
you could
very kind students.
kind of like it's like a loading screen too. If you just treat the asterisks, you can be like, once the asterisk reaches a certain length.
Yeah, totally. You can actually do a loading screen. You can do a progress bar. You can do a
like a progress bar,
right? 100% here and 0 here. So you can do so many damn things, really cool things. Do all these things. But share these ideas, right? Van is the only one who's come up with these ideas. I'm pretty sure many of you have had the ideas. You're not speaking up, okay? But just share these ideas and do it all. Share in the Reddit. Collaborate and come up with more ideas. It'll be fun. The idea here is basically to have lots of fun and discover new ways to have fun. Okay, save
Hey,
fun.
what if I make a Reddit post then, and we can see if we can take a tally to see what we can mess around with on Thursday.
Totally.
Yeah.
I would love that. Totally. Do that.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah.
Oh,
and
it's
lots of
almost
ideas.
10, so I should start heading out then.
Someone said something. I'm sorry, I missed.
Oh, sorry. It's almost 10, so I got to dip out at the moment.
No worries. No, thank you all so much, and thank you all for your patience and sticking with me. And and I hope all of this is useful to you, right? And as I said, I'm happy to give you all classes anytime you want. Okay, just make sure I'm not in a meeting or teaching something else. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
See you on Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, see you Thursday.
See you Thursday.
All right.
Catch you guys.